moderating today's session. I request the audience to keep their cameras on and ask your questions freely. Hi, ma'am. It's a pleasure connecting you virtually at Avantika University. So, before we start the session, I would like to give a small introduction about the speaker today. Nandini Gangal is the senior product designer at Cred and has previously worked with Flipkart and Rentomojo. And designer by education, she has entered a digital world of design while exploring the internet. She is an interdisciplinary designer specializing in user interface, typography, and web design. She creates clean, aesthetic, and editorial design solutions that are approachable and easy to understand. We are glad to have you here, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Yog. That was quite mesmerizing. Hello, everybody. I am Nandini, as you mentioned, designer at Cred. Why I've only written designer at Cred, I think we will discover that in the coming slides and post the whole presentation is over. As you mentioned, currently I'm working with Cred. It's been 1.5 years already, and I love the organization, and it's going great. Before this, I was working with Flipkart, another 1.2 years, you can say, and before that, working with Rentomojo. Actually, Rentomojo was my first formal uh, uh, like introduction to the design world, I would say. Earlier than that, I'm by education not a design graduate but a engineering graduate. I have learned electronics and communication engineering by education. I found my interest in design. I think it was not a very obvious journey, but if you know designers which started 6 or 7 years back, obviously. Okay, I will ask like if we can remove the demarcation, if we can just not do it. Thank you so much. So yeah, coming back. If you know designers, most of them, I think most of them which started their journey 6 7 years back are engineer turned designer, because the exploration or the thing of like that design can also be a profession was not very prominent in India, I would say. So while in engineering, like that, there's a small story which I would want to share with you guys. While in engineering, as we had a lot of time and stuff, we used to bunk classes. So I had a laptop, and I was like, okay, something good can be done out of this, and I started exploring internet and what all I can do. Being a really curious kid from the perspective that I loved geometries, I loved shapes, sizes, and I think I used to get a need in my examination on geometry. So coming from that perspective, I really like wanted to do something which is engineering but has a concept of sketching and stuff. So I started exploring internet, but nothing landed. I tried a lot of things, gadget designing and whatnot. But then it ended up that okay, why not learn Photoshop? So the journey started from there. I learned Photoshop by like going over YouTube, and I'm sure like you guys have the most common searches, that YouTube tutorial videos for beginners for Photoshop and stuff like that. So that was the common link in my YouTube also. And I started freelancing as a graphic designer. While I was in fourth year, I understood that okay, like computers is not my thing, because I can't like I was really bad at that, and I had a phobia through computer of computer languages. So I thought that okay, if you have a good hand in design already, and I used to think that okay, freelance is the only way out. So I thought okay, let's explore more that what are the opportunities in design, and that's where I learned that there is something called UI and UX. Started learning more about it, reading more about it, and yeah, like I did some freelance projects for that, for UI UX. But after college, I would say that in college, being a freelancer was quite a like fun thing, because you have your classes. I'm sure you guys can relate that you have the whole college environment. You are going to classes in your free time. You are doing something else. But when it becomes only and only this something else, the life started becoming quite boring. I felt like this is not a life which I would want, that you are sitting in a same room doing stuff. And also I think freelance has a demerit, which I'm not sure in the today's world how it is filled. But at that point of time, whatever I was designing, I was not able to understand the impact of it, how it is impacting the different functions in the organization itself, how it blends with business, how it blends with marketing, how it blends with the growth and stuff like that. So you are creating a design and you are delivering that. You are part and parcel of the development process also, but you are not contributing to, or you are not getting the output result of how it performed. So I think this needs to be stitched. So that time I decided to join an organization and understand how design can work as a function in an organization. And I clearly knew, I'm talking about, let's say, 4 to 5 years back, it was a thing that, okay, Bangalore is the only city where, and I'm not kidding, I really tried finding jobs in Jaipur itself, but there was no opportunities. People were not even aware of what are these jobs and what these people do. So yeah, so Bangalore at that point of time had a, I think Zeta had a design dribble meetup. So some of my friends went there and I heard a lot of good things about it. So I felt that, okay, Bangalore is the city to go. And I was very dominant prominent that I want, if I want a job, it has to be in Bangalore. That became true. I joined Rento Mojo, and to be really honest to myself and to you guys, I learned that how product design functions, or there is a position called product manager, while I was at work. So everything I learned about how experiences should be designed, how it involves marketing, how you interact with product managers, engineers, everything on the ground, and it has been a great journey. So that's a little bit about me. Cool. I hope so. The last two lines, right, where this guy says Brack, that this two mutually exclusive concept, when they come together, they become a hybrid, and then because and it looks different because it performs differently. I think that's the core of it, right? That how you design experiences, how you take one thing and the another thing, and find parallels or bridges between these two things. Taking example of cred, a financial embody, when it meets a lot of fun design or art or stuff, and how it builds bridges, it looks different because it performs differently. So I think that statement is really powerful, and I totally believe in that. This is one of the quotes which this guy has. And like you guys should definitely go and watch the whole episode. All his buildings, like, he mostly built in Copenhagen. I think one of them is in New York, but really inspiring and really nice. And the small trivia is that his agencies or his group's name is Brack Engels Group, and the short form is big. And this guy believes that, and or lives up to the fact that all the structures he is building are so big that they stand out. So that's he is one of my hero, I would say. Things which influenced my journey and thought process in last, I would say, yeah, 4 years, 4 to 5 years. In December, I'll be completing 4 years. People, Brack is one of them for sure. Perceptions and approaches. I think these few things, right? Approaches, you can actually uh, draw parallels to, let's say, taste, a person taste, or experiences in life. All these things combined forms a view or a thought process of a person, right? So whatever I'll talk about in today's presentation will be majorly around my exposure, my experiences, and how I perceive things in particular manner. It is not, I would say, wrong or right in any sense. It should not be like, okay, this is a saying or stuff like that, because I am totally coming from my perceptions and my approaches. So take it in that way. These can be esoteric in some way, but as you guys asked me to share my thought processes, I'm doing that. uh, we'll start with first question. What is design? This is like 4 line definition which I searched on Google and got it, but would love to know if people want to contribute on their definition of design. Anybody, what they think? And also today's session, I would say that most of you have learned in your first year, so we'll be going back to a lot of them. So don't curse it for me, but this is a new learning for me because I have not learned design. So would love to know your thoughts.
So the audience can freely unmute and just have their opinions on what is design
in their perspective, I would say.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Hello.
Hey Veda.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, for me, design is something which doesn't put you to limits. There is no
Mhm.
particular theory, like science jaisa nahi hai, that you have to learn this and you have to apply this. It's nothing like that. It's completely limitless. You can play with your imaginations, and there are no boundaries to your imagination and to your thought process. So that's what design is for me.
Thank you so much, Veda. That was really beautiful. And as you mentioned, right, that this is not like science. If you go and see my dribble right now, I have written this as my bio or explanation that design is the new science. So I resonate with you totally.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Problem solving.
Okay. That's a good one. Yes.
Also, for me, design is not just a field, but it's like a whole new world. It's a world without limits, and where you can make everything possible. You can think wild, you can go wild with your ideas and create something which is unbelievable. So I guess
Understood.
design is something which lets you create a thing which people think that it cannot be created. So it's a whole new world.
Okay. Okay. Then I would argue, what is art? What is the difference between art and design? Do anybody want to answer that one?
So
Yes,
I
I would
think
like to answer this.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hello?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah,
audible?
yeah, Anvesha, you are audible.
Yes, the difference between art and design is that art is more of aesthetics and art is for self satisfaction. Means it is wonderful, it's amazing, but it is for the artist. But design is for others.
Okay.
It is a combination of aesthetics and functionality.
Nice. Great shot. I'll summarize. I think in my view, art is very subjective to the individual who is creating it, and it is like the person who is creating the art, somewhere have to define the storyline, and then only the other person can appreciate it. But design, by definition, should speak about what the purpose is. So that's for me, like, that design is universal, which should be like the way it is designed, it should convey its usage or purpose. On the other hand, art is not bounded by these restrictions. It can be a very singular perspective also. Is that the right summary for your answer?
Yes.
Perfect. Cool. So art and design, we heard a lot of definitions. What is the difference? What is the different design disciplines? I think I'll most of you know this, like physical, spatial, digital, communication. But in this particular chart, everything is coming to digital, which is the truth of the life today. So yeah, the physical is also connected somewhere to digital, spatial is also connected, communication is highly related to digital design. So industries of design, I'm sure you guys are well versed with. What does a design do? Again, a good question. Anybody? One answer was it's okay, that is a good one. One answer which we previously heard was problem solving. Design problem solves.
This conveys the message.
I
Okay.
wouldn't just say problem solving, it also improves. Like, if it's something's already there, it can also improve it.
Perfect. Enhancement of current systems.
Yes, yeah, better
Okay.
way to put it.
Making things easier or simple.
Okay. Okay. Nice one. Cool. We'll move ahead. I am trying to like be on time. Okay, solving problems helps us engage, keeps us connected, helps us navigate physical and digital spaces. Is that it? No, a big no. There is a nuance. It can be inferential also, because the way you design things is the way the other person will perceive it, and that's why form follows function, right? If I am designing something and I'm creating in a particular way, a button is placed as a certain place, or a hyperlink is there, or a content is there, the person who is interacting with the design is getting influenced by that design and reacting towards it. So it is not, in my opinion, it can influence decisions, it can influence the way people perceive it, and that's why the topic of today is form is function. It comes from the architecture, where there is a saying that form follows function, which is very true in architecture. Like that, like if you see a building, a house that will look a certain way, and like looking at it, it will look like, okay, this is a house, people live here. But if you see a court, that will look a certain way. If you see a temple, it will look a certain way. And that's why and the way it is built, the way people behave in that particular space, the way people perceive the actions is always followed by the form of it. So that's why form follow designs. And today we will see that in the digital world, how I believe form is function. So, okay, the answer is it can influence decisions also. What is form? Anybody? I think we have talked about it, so we'll not take much time. Form is in the digital world of it, or I would say in the product design where I come from, is form is UI, which is user interface, how it looks, what are the colors, what are the fonts, and stuff like that, right? What is function? It is the UX, user experience, in the general design world language, the function of a product, a structure which plays any specific role. So this is a very, very good example of form meeting function. I'm sure most of you have seen this. How I see this is that it is the form of how you function is highly influenced by the form itself, because like we talk a lot about, right, the information architecture of things, or how things are flowing, the flow diagram and whatnot in the UX world. But the form is tightly coupled to that, because if I say that I want to communicate XYZ to a user, but and the user should always read it in XYZ manner, but let's say if I make the font size of Y bigger, by this example, obviously the user will always read the Y first. So your whole UX is now problematic, right? So that's why like form plays a very, very important role in how things are getting perceived, or how things are um, getting influenced by the action of people. I started exploring this domain. I think I already spoke about it. It was 6-7 years back then, and I only heard about graphic design, UI design, UX design, product design, and motion design. Few more like few more domains, but majorly it was this only. But now in today's world, we have a lot of shapes and forms and names and titles of different designers. So in my perspective, most of it is interrelated. What I did while I saw so many names and forms of design, I just started Googling things. What is the difference between UI and UX designer? What is the difference between a UX designer or a product designer? But most of the definitions somewhere felt very like had very blur lines between the two. Somewhere it defines that, okay, UI is more visual heavy and UX is more experience heavy. But then what is product design? So then the answer to it is that if you are thinking only UX, you will think only about the end user, that whether this experience is good or not. But when you are thinking of a like product design or designing a product, which I do today in an organization, it is highly biased towards what the organization wants the user to do, right? Because I can't always fight with my business that, okay, no, this is not a good user experience because the business goals are not met. So a product designers, while taking care of UX in the best way possible while meeting all the business requirements. So there are small differences, but I think that the lines are still blurry. I started as a graphic designer, moved to UX UI design, then tried to be I don't even know what is a UX designer, because in my opinion, if there is no UI, I'm not sure how UX can be conveyed to somebody. Because even if you are using a pen and paper, you will do some wireframes and stuff. So I'm not sure if UX design itself is a domain or not. If somebody has like a point of view, they should definitely stop me and tell me what it is, because I'm trying hard to understand what a UX designer does. At the same time, user research, I understand that that is a very important and useful domain, because you will tell, like a user researcher will try to like talk to the users, understand how they are feeling about it, come back with the insights. But UX design can only become design when it is either the output always has to be a screen, a UI, or a product. So I'm not sure what is UX design. Product, and now today I am doing product design and trying to be good at motion design, or you can say interaction design, which I have not skilled yet. A design should solve a problem that it promises to solve, for sure. And I think it's about the designer's expertise, right? Going back one step again, starting off as a graphic designer, copying UI designs from other people, becoming a product designer, it is different titles. But as you are exercising a different muscle over and over again, while I was doing graphic designing, I was making a lot of logos. So my thought process, or my muscles, or my hand, like taking the example of calligraphy, when I'm doing calligraphy, I have a certain flow of my hand, and the stroke should be a certain way and stuff like that, because I'm practicing that over and over again. So while I'm doing graphic design, I'm only exercising a particular muscle in my head, but at the same time, I understand colors, I understand font. And because these are the basic elements of design, right? When you Google what are the elements of design, it will be shape, font sizes, colors, and few more things, right? So if you are a designer, if you are saying that you are a designer, you have to have these things sorted, or you need to understand what are the different font sizes, how color theory works and stuff like that. So you can't say that a graphic designer should or cannot do UI design. They can, but they are not exercising that muscle over and over again. So today, when I'm a product designer, I can do graphic design, but that is my choice, right? So, but at the same time, it's not like I can't do graphic design. So yeah, I think you guys have got a hang of it, right? That different disciplines come with their own expertise, and it's up to the designer which they want to practice more and more and get their hands dirty in. Design should definitely solve a problem that promises to solve, but well, efficiently, and beautifully. And that's why we need design. That's particularly, like I think mostly me and a lot of these thought processes I think are coming from my team at Cred also. I had a different perspective while I was in Flipkart, because while you are working in an organization, a lot of your thought processes are driven from how the organization look at things. So I would not say that these are only my thought processes. It is part and parcel with, as I mentioned, my experiences and my perceptions and my interaction with different people. Elements of good product design, it is purely, I would say, like it has to have, you can't only play on pixels. It has to be a combination of visuals, narrative, and data. Because if you lack UI design, or if you lack visual expertise, then your UI will feel very, very dull, or it won't have a taste. It will not influence a lot of actions of the users, right? As we spoke about that, okay, if things are at a particular font size, if there is any button at a particular place, you are influencing the user behavior in a certain way. So if the visuals are not that great, you can't actually have that liver in your hand. Narrative is for sure, like these are the flow diagrams, that one screen is connected to the second screen and stuff like that. And data is really, really important, I would say. We'll come back to it, that how data plays a very important role in a product designer's life. But data on a broader level, I would say that after something is shipped, after my users are using my designs or the product, how many are going where, how many are doing what, and accordingly you'll come back and you'll iterate on those experiences and try to define them better. So I think research is somewhere a part or parcel of data. Like how you look at data is differently on how you look at research. Research is very qualitative. On the other hand, data is very quantitative. In a nutshell, when it comes to digital design, I feel visual communication is the key. So no matter which expertise, what you are designing, if it is good UX, good UI, whatnot, because the end product of your of whatever you are creating is going into screens. And I'm only purely talking about the digital world right now. I'm not sure what are the implications in the physical world of design, but in a digital world, everything, your end user is only going to see the output in visuals, because it is, they are interacting with the screen. So until and unless you crack the visual communication, and I'm not talking about visual design, this is visual communication, which is different from visual design in certain ways. But visual communication is the key, and it can be anything. It can be your ads, it can be your app, it can be your marketing ad campaigns and anything. And then also visual, when I'm saying visual, consider sound and everything also. But in my opinion, until and unless you crack your visual communication, your product is somewhere lacking the narrative and the communication itself. So because visual is the only key which you can depict, because you are not there present with the user, telling them, okay, now you have to click this button. That's how. And that's why some experiences are not great, right? You can see that why one app is difficult from you, like by using the other app, because the visual communication or the UI is not a certain way. So my argument is that UI is as important as UX, because the output of UX can be done by UI itself. So that's the argument, and that's why, like, removing all the UI UX conversations, I'm calling it visual design, visual communication. User experience is a global entity which includes form and function, because let's take the example of, let's say, some apps, right? Let's talk about Amazon. A lot of people will argue that Amazon ka UI is not great. They have not put a lot of effort in their form. But at the same time, as they are a operations heavy function, because no matter how great the form of the app can be, if I am not delivering my product on time, it can't be a good user experience. So user experience is not only tied through the app design in the Amazon world of things, right? Because the whole experience or the whole user experience is not only the app experience but the offline operation world also. Let's talk about, but at the same time we can say that Amazon has not put a lot of they are not the pivot is not form, but it is more function, that how it is performing, how you are getting things on time, how fast the delivery is, which is enhancing the user experience itself. Mintra, I would say, the app is high on form, and function, I'm not sure, like it depends on city to city. Now, so these are the contrasts between e-commerce. Let's take the example of a Kindle or a Headway, which is not there in the offline world. So how a Kindle, because it is not tied to a offline experience, and a Headway, I'm not sure a lot of people know about it, but this is also a book reading app. So Kindle is not, I think I never had a very great experience in reading through Kindle, because of the form. Maybe matlab, if I'm using the device, it is amazing, but the experience is not that lavish or great, because form is, in my opinion, somewhere lacking in what Headway is doing. If you go and open Headway's app today, the form is so great that it makes me understand by itself. It's so intuitive and nice that I can do all the actions very seamlessly. So that's why, like, as a user, I personally like Headway better than Kindle when it comes to only a online world. But I like Amazon better than a Mintra from a user experience perspective, because of the offline integration of things as a product in it. So the output, coming back to the point that the output or the user experience is a global entity which involves form and function. Let's talk about brands, right? Google is a great example. Google is a tech company. They started with focusing a lot on function, right? Like because they were pioneering a lot of things. So when you are pioneering, you are trying to solve only that problem, and at that point of time, functions plays a very, very important role, because users will not come and tell you that I am not finding this product useful because the form is bad. These are only designers, and this is like all the conversations are happening in the design community or the design world only, that what is form and what is function. But for a user, the output is only the whole experience. So Google, as they're pioneering and solving a lot of problems, function was the base and the core of the company. And they always, like, they paid attention to form to a like, now I think to a certain level, but they are doing now a lot good, because the function has been settled so well and nice, that they are now focusing a lot on their material design guidelines and XYZ whatnot. So Google is a great example of how form function meets form. Nike again is a great example, when they don't talk about how my shoe is so great, how it will last for 10 years. It is just the brand design, it is just the communication which they play on. Let's take the example of Samsung, or a contrast between Apple and Samsung. If you see a ad of Apple, it will never tell you that the camera is this megapixel or the screen size is this, because it is a combination of form and function, I would say, because they say that we have the best camera in the world. At the same time, they will not define it. So it's a very nice blend, or they play between form and function very, very nicely, and that's why one of my favorite brands. But at the same time, if you talk about a Samsung and an ad, they will always say my camera is this much, the screen size is that much, the processor is this. So because their core is function and not maybe form, so it is always the pivot of the company. I think summarizing the whole point which I'm trying to make is that whenever you are working with the organization as a designer, it is not only about what you want or how you look at things. It is a lot about what is the pivot of the company. So when a designer was working with Google, when function was the core, the designer will function as a core product designer, or I would say interaction designer and stuff like that. But when it is moving to a form and function, they will put equal importance to how it looks, how it feels like, whether it is pleasing to the eye or not, what are the colors of it. And then that's why the whole rebranding, right, that they are trying to make a brand out of it. So yeah. And here is the belief which I believe in. Look at form and function using the following framework. Design is a complex process involving research, flow design, visual design, motion design, graphic design, copywriting, and whatnot. A lot more actually. Every function has its place, its role, and its importance. UI is a function, research is a function, copywriting is a function, visual design is a function, good illustrations are a function, good motion design is also a function, form is function. While on it, always remember, optimizing for aesthetics alone is a horrible idea. Optimizing for functionality alone is also a horrible idea. It should never be a choice. It should always be both, and together measure both. A lot hard to measure things contribute to a measurable success, and perception is one such. We spoke about perception in the beginning of the conversation or presentation. So it is very hard to measure perception, right? But it brings in a different element in personality of things. Measurability should not come in the way of creativity. And how do you measure design? I think this will be the last thought which I would want to share, because not a lot of people ask this question, that how do you measure design. It's a very simple process, and that's how we see it in CRED today. Use research to understand the leading indicators, that what product you should build, what, like how users should do it, like use it. What are your competitors doing, what can you do differently to make their life easier. But at the same time, use data to validate. So we strongly believe that if the design team in CRED feels that this is a certain way I want to design something, their subjectivity is much more solid, because design is subjective, right? But designer subjectivity should be the criteria of deciding things. So use data to validate. Once you ship your things, look at a lot of how users are behaving, what people are doing, in which funnel people are going, what clicks are happening, what clicks are not happening, and then iterate over it. When the consumer indicate, you iterate. And that's the best part of computational design, like the digital design, because we can iterate. Like in physical world of things, you made a building, and if users are not using the staircase in the way where you wanted, you can't like just diminish it and then rebuild the whole building, right? So that's the beauty of computational design. That's how I came to look at design. And just a last thought, as I mentioned, beauty is subjective, but that's a terrible reason to not make things beautiful. That's why UI is function. And one last thought is, make mistakes, but just ensure you make a new one all the time. That's my last thought. I spoke a lot. Didn't let anybody ask questions, so I would I think open the conversation and take in questions now.
Yes, I mean the this specific portion was really interesting. It felt like wow, everything could have combined stuff. So
Thank
the
you so
floor is
much.
now open for the audience. Like you can ask your questions freely.
Nobody has questions. I think the visual communication of this presentation was also very bold. I was like, I believe in this. I'm not sure if you do, but like open, really, really open to view, like to hear thoughts. If people have disarguments or they have questions or they want to discuss about any of the topics we spoke about.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
What is really motion design? Like, I searched it on Google, all definitions, but I never really understood what exactly it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you just brief on what motion design actually is?
Yeah, so there are 2-3 things there also. One is, let's say, motion design. Second is interaction design. Let's not go to the third one. So interaction design is more around the flow of things. Let's say from this screen, what should be the interaction, what like where people should click, and then how the next screen should load, whether we can have animations from one screen to the another screen and make it look very seamless and stuff like that. Whereas motion design, I think, is purely based on how things are moving on a certain screen, like the gifs you see, the illustrations. So in Cred, our motion designer only works on moving the illustrations, right? And then depicting. So let's say it is a loading state. So there is a loader which is rotating. Like, that's the simplest example I can give. So how a loader should move to depict loading in the best way possible, because there are multiple loaders, right, in the world. On a different apps you would have seen, but some loaders are more intuitive and very fun, or very brand specific, I would say, and still depict loading in the same way. So sorry for the noise, but yeah. So that designing the loader ka motion, that how it should move, it is mostly done in After Effects. So if you are a motion designer, I think you should have expertise in After Effects, how things are used, and I think Cinema 4D also and stuff like that. But that's majorly how I see the difference between interaction design and motion design, that illustrations and everything moving in a particular way to depict the action happening in the background. So I'm not sure if you have seen Cred, but we use a lot of these animations. So when the credit score of a user is loading, we show a loader, and then the dial goes from 0 to a particular number. So how those things will happen are actually part and parcel of motion design. So a
Okay.
product designer can say that there should be a dialer here, but then an illustrator and a motion designer will work together in creating that dialer, and how it should reflect the number and stuff like that.
Acha, I see. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Hello,
Anybody
Nandini.
else? Hi.
I'm Hatem.
Thank you for keeping your video on. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Most welcome. It was great to know your thoughts on things. So I'm actually a computer science engineer studying here in the 4th year. So you mentioned your points clearly. Ki, visual design is really important, and it's what is making the user use things. So in the perspective from user side, I completely agree. But there is also a functionality side where we need to basically the loader which you are talking about. Ki if something needs time to load, we need to show the loader. But the functionality is also plays a major role. That loader shouldn't be there for a minute or 5 minutes.
Exactly.
So it should load faster, and also behind the backend side, the functioning of the company itself. So they user will send the information, but it's at least as important for us as a company organization to make sense of that information as quick as possible.
That's true.
So I mean, so functionality, I mean, I still would say functionality is
it is.
I mean,
it is. So I am
what
not
drives the
arguing.
whole product.
It does. So that's why the Google example, right? And I am on you that if you don't build the system perfectly, that it should load fast, and the user is like on the loader for eternity, the user will never be there for eternity for sure. So they will stop using your product in itself. And that's why the Google example, that it is on what the pivot is. Let me give you this example, right? What Cred was solving as a problem in the very initial days. It was a credit card bill payment platform. Today it is 10 different things, but it started from credit card bill payment, and then you get rewards. Now, this product or this particular offering, a lot of other companies were also giving at the same time. You can pay credit card bills on your bank app also. You can do it in Paytm, you can do it in Phone Pay and XYZ, right? So the function is defined. How a credit card bill payment should be, you should enter the card number, you should enter. It is very simple steps, right? If you go to the first principle, you need a card, you need the number of that card, you need expiry, you need CVV, then you need what the amount to be paid, and then you just need a payment instrument and just pay, and then the payment thing will happen. Now the function in its core is defined. You can't modify that function. You can't pay a credit card bill if you don't have a credit card. So you can't change the core of that process. The only thing which you can change is the experience, making it faster, as you mentioned. Which is the product which can do it fastest? It doesn't depend on design to some extent. It depends only on the functionality of things, right? So you can become a good product only by your systems in this particular thing. But when cred came in place, we knew that a lot of people are already solving this problem, so we can win on experience. So cred bringing their art. So let's go back to the art and design thing also, right? As we said, art is a very individualistic perspective. So let's imagine cred is that individual, and cred has a particular perspective about how a credit card payment journey should look like, and then they made that journey. And that's why between 10 different kind of credit card bill payment journeys, some users feel that creds is the best one, right? So this is the combination of your function plus form, that it is given that you have to be good, like your security should be at your best. You are not like the data users privacy at is there, it is core. Like I think there are 10 different things, right? Infrastructure, back end, front end, legal and whatnot. But the output, or how you are telling the user that you have to click this button to go forward in the funnel, is only by the UI, because nobody's sitting, or you are not going to sit besides the user. So the output or the how the user interacts is wholly and solely depend on your UI. So that's why it should solve for visual communication. And that's why in cred, I think one of the things, I'm not sure if you guys like have credit card, because I'm sure you guys are still in college, but we took a very hard decision that there should be only one input and one step, because it depends on it might increase the number of steps. Let's say if there is a form in one page, I can just like, there is only one step, like if you actually look at it. But if you divide that step into 5 screens, it feels longer. But if it is solving for user ease, we were okay to do it, because we knew that it will make things easier for a user, right? So those kind of decisions are very form specific and not function specific. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it was not a question. You were just saying function is all so important. But I'm not contesting that. I am actually saying that form is function. Like UI is also function. So function is so important that everything
it is a part
is function.
of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything
Anybody else?
needs to come together.
Yeah, it does. You can't think of UI and UX in isolation, I would say. We have 8 more minutes, guys. Yug, do you want to close? I don't see that people have any more questions. I'm not sure if people slept.
No, they don't.
I spoke a lot. I spoke a lot.
That's amazing, actually. And I had this question. So I would, we all would like to know more about the culture you guys follow at cred. I mean, how things go over there. I mean, more in that.
Okay. Cred, I think, again, like the things which attracted me towards the organization were people perception and approach. People, when I met the design team for the first time, it was, I think, 9 in the night, and we just ended up talking so much that I did not even realize that how it was 12 already. So people for sure, and culture is amazing. I can say that because the the hiring in Cred was initially done very keenfully, because it was a set of people who want to work on Cred. It is not like that people don't have job and they want to, like, they are just like coming here to work on something to earn. It was a set of people who are enthusiastic about building something good, building something different, and making their mark, right? So that culture has been said, that whenever you are, and also user always actually come first in whatever things we are building. Even if uh, again, I'm not sure how, like, a lot of people know about the different like how organization function, but there will be always a business need. Then they will evaluate that how this business need will solve the user problem, and what are the pros and cons and stuff like that. Once that decision is taken that this feature has to be built, we will, like, sit together, understand what can be the user journey, why, what this feature is solving. And then a lot of roles come in, that the PM will come in to understand what is the design requirement, what is the technical requirement, and stuff like that. So whenever we are having these conversations, user will always come in place. Like, the answer, the business always have to answer this question of what, how it is adding value to the user's life. And if that answer is not clear, I think people don't actually come up with requirements if this answer is not given. So once the whole organization is asking the same question, speaking the same language, the culture itself become really empathizing and really cultivated, right? And it is not only design, it is the organization design also. Like, I see design in every part of Cred. For example, again, every employee in Cred has a credit score of more than 750. So if our users have to have credit score more than 750, the employees, all the employees are, so in a certain way, all the employees are customers. So that is a form of organization design, right? How you are building your organization, how you are taking decisions on how the culture should be built. So I think those decisions were taken in very beginning, and the good ones. So that's been great. And from the design perspective, I think as everybody thinks of design, and I will not take the credit of that design is everything in Cred. Our front end design team, like the front end team, takes, like, so to put things in perspective for you guys also who are thinking of going into digital design world. No matter how, because you are only using software, right, like Sketch, Photoshop, or Framer, whatever, to design that screen, until and unless you get a good developer who can develop it as you designed it, then nothing, like, your designs are still on, like, only on Zeppelin. So whatever the users see or gets developed is your design. So that's why, like, I think the front end engineering team at Cred is, like, I think best, like world class. Like, whatever we ask them to do, like for example, when we were doing the neomorphism thing, right, in iOS platform, it is like the blur and shadows and everything comes in the I think their settings and everything. I'm not sure the depth of it, but it is not there in Android. So we were ourselves not sure that, well, the developers like be okay with, or even if this is even possible or not in Android. But they took time, they did not say a no upfront that this cannot be done. They took time, sat for a whole night and cracked that. like the next day we had the mocks of the button with all the neomorphic elements, and then that was the day we started building all the elements and stuff like that. So I think if your front end design, like front end engineering team, like has like the full credits of design at Cred. So find good developers for yourselves, guys, if you focus a lot on UI design, I would say.
Nandini, I had a different question, a little off topic. So
Yeah.
in design in general, it also focuses on other things as well, like environment or mental health. So is it, so right now in design, up till couple of years ago, we were design was focused on how to keep the user attached to something, app or something, as long as possible. But now we are looking at health also, ki just attach them as much for the required time only. So it's good for health also, and also environment basis. In product design, there is design for sustainability. So what are your thoughts on other aspects? So
Okay, I've actually not thought very in depth on this. I have seen the social dilemma recently. So I also got concerned about a lot of these things. But to like, as I have to answer this question, I definitely feel that the advancement of digital things like are affecting our health and everything for sure. But at the same time, I just have one point on this which I've observed really closely, is that this evolution thingy, right, where you adapt to the environment as human beings. Matlab, this can be very high level, but that is the only thing which I have noticed or thought about in the related context, is I have already started seeing that kids who are 1 year, 2 year old are very comfortable using screens, which I am not sure we were or our parents were. So I somewhere feel that as the world is going into this digital or AI and all these system driven things where we are disconnecting with the physical world around us a lot, I am somewhere hopeful, I'm not sure I will be alive till then or not, that the evolution will kick in. That, like, because I somewhere see the sign. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this or not, or in your home it happened or not, but my like my cousins have small kids and everything, no? So like these kids who are like 1 year old, I don't even understand how this chota bacha can click on the camera and open the front end camera while it was on background camera and take selfies, or how they can find YouTube and go and play something. Matlab, they can interact with certain things, clicks anywhere, that is okay. But them finding certain patterns, understanding what the path to go to do the desired action is somewhere concerning for me. At the same time, I feel that it's nobody can help it. Like 2 years ago, I asked this question to one of the senior designers in the industry, that what do you feel that AI will take away our jobs? But there are a lot of conversations around the same topic, but I think the future will tell. I don't think we can answer that in isolation of how the things are happening. Like yesterday only, I was having a discussion with one of the designer friends that how education has moved from the offline world to the online world altogether. And but it is premature, right? It is not at its maturity. So how the players in the market can take these opportunities and build the systems in a way where they are like supporting every need of the conversion from an offline world to an online world. So yeah, I think we will see. I don't have very strong opinions on the same, but that really good question.
thank you for your
Cool.
view. Yeah. It was a really
We
nice
are.
session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I loved interacting with all of you and giving me, like, you guys giving me this opportunity. I think I will thank Madhu the most in making this happen. Had a great session. I'm sure, like, if any of you guys related to this thought process, feel free to like catch me over any like social media. I've missed to put links over here, but yeah, you can. I'll stop sharing my screen, and thank you for your time, everybody. It was a pleasure being a speaker at Avantika University. And my brother himself is like joining an engineering college, and he was looking at MIT. And when I got to know that Avantika is like one of the part of MIT, he was more excited about it. So I will definitely share the recording. I would request you to share the links with me, and yeah, that's it.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, we'll
Hey
share this.
Nandini, thank you so much for dropping in and having this amazing session with us.
I hope you guys liked it,
Yeah,
or have some takeaways from it.
we definitely loved the session. The content was awesome. So yeah, all the best for your future endeavors.
Yeah, all the best to you, all of you guys. Like, a lot of designers are coming in the industry, and I'm really excited about this. So welcome you guys in the digital design world. Perfect.
So, yeah. So, as we are near to the end of this session, I would like to thank you, ma'am, for taking out time and sharing your thoughts with us. Form and function is something very relevant to the designers, and your opinion has surely helped us a lot in that terms. We wish you a very best of luck for your future endeavors. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Yug. You have been a great moderator.